session open. So call to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Okay, so welcome to our June 2nd Tiverton School Committee meeting. I'm going to ask for motion to approve the consent agenda.
So I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay. Do a roll call vote. Mrs. Palish?
Yes.
Mrs. Farnworth?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so the consent agenda is approved. All right.
Dr.
So,
Larkin, if I may.
yep.
I'd request the committee to move to item 6A. We have some guests here representing our PTOs. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to move up new business 6A.
Second.
Okay. Any opposed? I'll take that as unanimous. So we're on item 6A, recognize PTOs Athletic Boosters Club Tempo Music Organization. Dr. Sanchioni.
Great, thank you. So in a year unlike no other, we were able to continue to do a lot of amazing things for our students. The things that we did may have been a little different than the past, but they were still done. And that only takes place with a lot of support of our schools. And we're fortunate to have, as you know, very active PTOs, a very supportive Boosters Club and Tempo that supports the music organization at the high school. They were all invited to come speak to the committee and share their successes and achievements. Right now, we have with us the 3 PTO presidents from the elementary school. So why don't we start with their reports, and let's go in alphabetical order because they're all excellent and just distinguished right now. And so that's Fort Barton, and that is Kate Giffelin. So Kate, great to have you with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'll get the ball rolling. So we wanted to welcome the incoming kindergarteners. So they didn't really know what they were getting into. They had never experienced distance learning or walking onto a school campus. So when I showed up at Fort Barton last year, it looked like it had been abandoned. So we got a donation of 90 bags of bark mulch and had a landscape day and made that place look immaculate for those little kids to walk in the first day of school. When we had a kindergarten orientation where each little child was welcomed with a gift bag. And in that gift bag was a brand new white t-shirt with the new T logo that said Fort Barton down the middle. They got some crayons, some stencils, a sticker for their car, and then they were given the opportunity to take a little survey for us. We teamed up with the CORE organization to decorate our pavement area with hot top only recess activities. And I gave those kids 12 different options to put on that hot top playground. So when they showed up for kindergarten, they would say, I had a part of that. I got to choose, Foursquare, the Eric Carle Caterpillar. They had a sense of home and like placement. So we got a business to donate 6 gallons of hot top pavement paint. And we had a pavement party with the CORE organization, and that was August and September. Come October, we realized that the kids needed some more stuff to do during recess, and I reached out to the local community asking if anybody was interested in helping out make us some limbo poles, something different for the kids to do out in the grassy area. 2 weeks later, I had an anonymous donation from a Fort Barton alumni with 2 brand new sets of limbo poles. They just showed up on our front step with a little note saying, to my Fort Barton family. We then decided to extend our pavement party a little bit, and we went further back behind the school, and we created a sensory path for kids to do during recess. So I don't know if any of you get a chance to drive by Fort Barton, go around the path, you'll see like a little obstacle course on the pavement that kids get to do at recess, and they race each other and time each other. And it's just something different to do. This year, since we couldn't have our annual fall festival at Naugatuck Farms for obvious reasons, we decided to do something a little different. I stole an idea from Ranger PTO. They did a scarecrow contest. I didn't want to steal the exact idea from Jen, so I branched off a little bit and we did a pumpkin carving contest. We had over 40 pumpkins at Fort Barton. Unfortunately, the rain caused us to bring all those pumpkins into the front lobby, but they were amazing. We had 4 grand prize winners. We did top 3, but one of them was just so good that we snuck them in and they had to make it in with the top 4. I'd like to thank McCrae's Seafood because they donated gift certificates to the first place winner's homeroom. That first place winner, their homeroom all got gift certificates for Dell's Lemonade. And that wrapped up October for us. In November, I reached out to the Tiverton Lions Club. Miss Donnelly Roach asked me if we could get a picnic bench, 1 or 2 donated to the front of Fort Barton. I researched out to a few businesses to see if anybody wanted to pitch in and help out. Like I offered to pay half, and Tiverton Lions Club stepped up and they picked up the tab for the whole brand new burgundy and black school color metal picnic bench. It can stay out there all year long, but I would like them to bring it in the summer just because I don't want it to disappear. In the fall, I'm going to look into getting a custom umbrella made with the school logo, but I just kind of wanted to test the waters first with the umbrella. In December, we did our first ever Giving Tuesday. We had a few families at Fort Barton that were affected by the pandemic. And through a couple of text messages and Facebook posts, we were able to raise roughly around $3,900 for those families in cash, gift cards, and business donations. I don't know the names of those families, and I shouldn't. All the money was delivered to the school and distributed by the school, and it is definitely something that we will be doing again, because I think it's something that we should be doing. The holiday parties, no spectators, no parents, none of the good stuff that the kids, sorry for the dog. So we supplied the holiday parties with everything that the kids could use to have a party in this day and age. So we got them crafts and snacks, and the kids were allowed to bring in stuff, but they had to quarantine. So it kind of took the sparkle away. January, we kind of took off, let it kind of calm down, quiet, regroup. February, we had a virtual presentation at Fort Barton. Mr. John Rocco, who's a New York Times bestseller author and illustrator, he did a virtual presentation with our 3rd grade class. And I think the kids really enjoyed that. It kind of brought not a field trip, but that kind of mentality, something different. And it was all done via Zoom. We did every year we do the restock, the school week. It's in February, middle of the school year, resupply them with some Lysol wipes and, wet dry markers and all that stuff. Tiverton Police Department found out we were doing this, and they stepped up and bought us 20 brand new sets of headphones for the kids at Fort Barton that needed them. And can't thank them enough. We did a fundraiser back in March. It was cookies, the Mrs. Fields cookies and Cheesecake Factory cheesecakes. That was our most successful fundraiser we had the whole year. I don't know if people love cookies during the pandemic, but we sold 277 boxes of cookies. And I just, that's triple what we've ever done. So I would love to thank the families for loving cookies so much. Back to limbo poles. So it was brought to my attention that the kids weren't getting equal playing time with the limbo poles. They had to stay in their designated little recess area. So I reached out to Bill Phillips at the high school and his students in the woodworking department, and they made Fort Barton 4 more brand new sets of limbo poles. I asked him if he could take it on as a project. I offered to pay for all the lumber and supplies, and he said, no, I got it. And then 2 weeks later, 4 more brand new sets showed up on our doorstep, all ready to go, so that each homeroom has their own set of limbo poles to play with at recess. We also bought the kids for recess their own mega container Tupperware bins so that they can store their basketballs, soccer balls, all that stuff, so that at recess time they can bring out and carry everything that they need and then put it all away and not touch everybody else's stuff. We helped out with Reading Week with Miss Kilborn. They had each day of the week was like a different event, and we supplied the kids with neon themed retro sunglasses so that they could sit outside and be cool and lay on their towels and read books in the sun. And then for some of the class contests, we went out and purchased Barnes and Noble gift cards for the in-class reading competitions that they had. Bringing it up to May, we had Memorial Day. It was a little different. We normally march down to that statue down at the beach, but this year they had to reorganize it, but we tried to keep it as normal as possible for those kids. So we picked up the tab and got that wreath again from Paul's Press. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's huge. The kids have to carry it with two hands marching down the street. And then we ordered and delivered each kid in that school their own American flag for them to wave and have at their ceremonies. Unfortunately, again, we couldn't do any spectators, so I don't really know what happened during the day. I didn't get to see it. Teacher Appreciation Week was hard this year. Normally we do a all-you-can-eat buffet for the teachers one day a week, and we all bring in food and share it so that they can all have, different things to eat. But we upped our game and we reached out to Black Goose Cafe and Coastal Roasters. And what we did is we set up a tab and we said for every teacher and staff member at Fort Barton that they can show up with their gift card that we made for them, and they can go get a lunch on us at Black Goose or go get a cup of coffee at Coastal Roasters. And they had all week to do it. They did not need to go on a certain day or anything like that. They could go at their leisure and enjoy a break from the chaos there. We also got Miss Donnelly Roach 42 $10 gift cards for all different businesses around in the area so that she could do her Lucky Duck promotion so that each teacher got a chance to win something that week. She put all the little ducks in a pond, and then each teacher, once a day, she would pick a duck, and that teacher got to go pick a gift card. The students, one of the parents so kindly organized Flipgrid videos. I'm not very familiar with them. I apologize. That technology is beyond me. But one parent stepped up, and every student in that school made a Flipgrid video for their teacher as a thank you for Teacher Appreciation Week. And then the last day of the week, the students were encouraged to dress up as their favorite teacher at the school. And I would have to say it was very touching to see a couple kids dress up as teachers that you wouldn't normally see. Wrapping it up to June, we had one parent step up, and she's a Zumba teacher, or Zumba instructor, I'm sorry. Miss Laura Wheeler, she volunteered to have Zumba Fridays at Fort Barton. So every kid at Fort Barton got a chance to go outside or go in the gym, weather permitting, and learn a little bit of Zumba. And we just had field day last week. That was hard. We had to split the littles and the bigs. We did the littles in the morning, and we finally got some volunteers for the dunk tank because we were going to phase it out because we just didn't have enough time. We got enough volunteers. The kids got the dunk tank. They had a great time. We got Dell's Lemonade. They showed up and provided a station for us. And I can't thank McCray's Seafood and Mike Napolitano enough. We utilized our new limbo poles. That was a station. And then we introduced the pizza box relay because we like to phase out some old stations with some new ones every year so that the kids get something new and refreshing to look at. This year for graduation ceremony tomorrow, we to stay COVID compliant, because we normally do ice cream sundaes for the kids, we found an old-fashioned ice cream truck to come to the school and play the music and drive through the parking lot, and each graduating kid is going to get a run up to that little window and pick out an ice cream sundae or something. And then finally, the last thing that we are doing this year is I petitioned the bridge again to be rainbow for the last day of school on Thursday for the whole school district. So if you guys want to spread the word, that's going on. And that wraps up, kind of summarizes up a little bit what we did this year.
Great job. And just to note, we always like our PTOs to steal from each other as long as cash doesn't change hands.
Yeah, I cherry pick ideas all day long off them.
Yeah, that's the sign of a good leader. So thank you very much for everything you've done. Dr. Sanchioni, back to you. You're muted, Peter.
Thank you. As I started to say, it's been an amazing year, and these people have certainly contributed to our successes. So moving on to Picasset and Marissa Conley.
Hi. Contrary to what it says, I am not Julie Delcourt. So we had a lot of, it was a challenging year, as Kate said, very different from doing our regular events in the building, but tried to make do with what we could. Back to school gifts for our kindergartners and our teachers, mostly including hand sanitizer, wipes, tissues, that kind of stuff, classroom supplies. We got those big IKEA bags for every classroom and just loaded stuff for outdoor recess. And then through the year, just kept adding things in as things broke, new ideas of activities that the kids wanted. Supplied headphones, earbuds, that kind of stuff, because everybody was on their Chromebooks for the bulk of the year. We did the pavement. We jumped on Fort Barton. Glory had reached out to us, and we did the pavement painting activity as well, which is still a huge hit for the kids. Halloween, we didn't get to do our regular party, but Leo's down on Main Road, who is amazing, donated half of all the pumpkins. So we got one for every student in the class, had a pumpkin patch. They got to go decorate and have a little activity. So that was fun for them. We did kind of along the same lines for the holidays, an ornament activity, just so they could do something in the class. They didn't get to have their parties after school hours, but to give them something fun. We had virtual book fair in the fall and spring, definitely very different, very challenging, not the same type of fundraiser we're used to, but just kind of wanted to keep some consistency with the fundraisers we have. Hopefully next year we can go back to normal with that, because the in-person is a huge hit. We always supply every year for the RICAS testing in the spring, the snacks for the kids, for the classrooms, waters, for both sessions, 3rd and 4th grades. Suzette had started this great thing with Motivational Mondays for coffee Monday mornings for drop-off time. So any weeks that somebody didn't sign up for it, PTO picked up on it, and we had some kids out there running around handing coffees out in the morning, which they all loved and enjoyed. We had Teacher Appreciation Week. So every day that week, our teachers and staff would go into the break room and find something special to celebrate them. Original Artworks fundraiser is something we do every spring, and it's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. Love that. It's all the kids' artwork. The parents and families can buy various items for their house with the kids' artwork on it. So that was huge. And our fall fundraiser, it's called Boone Supply. It's like bags, houseware, kitchenware. Those two things really sustained us for the year, because starting out with what we had, there weren't many opportunities to bring in income. So those two things in the fall and spring kind of helped us carry through, where we're not bottoming out and we can start on a good note for next year. So that was huge. We purchased a bench for the playground, which should be getting hopefully installed in the next couple of weeks. It goes along the lines of the buddy bench we already have, but this one is dedicated to Shawnee Smith with his little quote on the back of it. So hopefully in the next week or two, we can get that installed and have a little thing with his family and friends to come and see that installation. We had 4th grade movie night just this past weekend, which was fantastic that we actually got to get the kids together, just the 4th graders. Julie was fabulous and brought this huge inflatable movie screen, and we had popcorn and drinks, and all the kids got to get together, got to be with, the kids in their class, but also the other 4th grade class, just in the open field. Huge hit. They had a great time. We ordered some 4th grader water bottles that have the TMS logo. So they'll get them. Hopefully, they should be coming in tomorrow. They'll get them on the last day of school. So just kind of as a send-off gift with them, along with, we always send seed money to the middle school because they start out with nothing in their account. So hoping to be able to give them a good little chunk of change to start their school year. Holiday time, we had some donations to some families. through the year, we just tried to supplement in the classrooms as much as possible. What do you guys need? Do you need disinfectant wipes? Do you need hand sanitizer is a big one. The kids don't like the smell of the district provided ones. So if we saw Purell on the shelves, we would grab Purell, and just kind of through the year, just had open communication with Suzette on what are the classrooms needing? What could they use? What are the kids looking for? I'd say all in all, I mean, it was a strange year, but everybody seems still to this day very happy. Activity wise, very happy with what was going on in the classrooms. Kind of maybe started some new traditions we can carry on next year, even though the world's opening up. But all in all, I feel like we're coming out in the silver lining of they still all are coming home every day, very happy, neat activities we were able to help out and support with. And we'll just, plan from here, hoping to get back to some normal activities next year.
Great job. Thank you so much.
You're
A
welcome.
lot of creativity and a lot of resilience, I see.
I am.
Thank you. Okay.
Hey, lastly, but not certainly least, and again, the contributions continue to be amazing from these ladies and their organizations. Jen Osser from Rangers with us.
Hi, thank you for having us. So similar to the other elementaries, we started the year with kindergarten welcome bags. We did a bag with a book in it, a pencil, and a link to a Google Doc. It was our first time trying this to create a family directory. That was a big challenge this year with COVID, was getting family information for PTO to have to be able to contact families. We also did large rolling recess bins for each classroom, 10 of the classrooms, which we refilled throughout the year. We had 2 families can donate chalk throughout the year to every single bin, because that really went through fast. That was one of the most popular new COVID recess activities for the kids. And we also bought a huge bag of 5 playground balls for each classroom. That was one of our big purchases this year, so that each classroom could have a supply of balls for recess. In the fall, we did our soup and cookie fundraiser. It's Otis Spunkmeyer and Blount Soup. It did really well again this year. It's always a big stock up for people for Thanksgiving. And again, we did book fair, which, like Marissa said, was sad to do online book fair, but we did it. We added in a scarecrow contest with it. The scarecrow had to be literacy themed. So it had to be based on your favorite book or favorite story. And we did a gift card to the winner. We had Mr. Cabral choose, and we did a winner, and we did a teacher winner and a student winner. We also purchased a more rugged phys ed cart that could go on the grass, because they were doing recess gym class outside so much more this year. So we bought a huge gorilla cart for Mr. Del Deo to be able to take all the supplies out into the field. We supported Literacy Week. We used some of our Scholastic bucks that we raised for the first book fair to support Literacy Week with the second book fair, whatever supplies Mrs. Curtis needed for that. One of the COVID things we started that we'll likely keep up is we had each teacher do an Amazon wish list, and we had wish list Wednesdays where we would share it throughout the month on our social media, where parents could go directly into a teacher's Amazon wish list and purchase supplies for the classroom and have them shipped right to school. It went really well. And I was just talking with our school nurse at field day. She's going to create one as well for supplies for the nurse, that extra things, extra pants, shirts to send the kids home in. And PTO goes in throughout the year and picks a couple of things from each wish list and sends them to the class as well. So it's a nice way to be able to send stuff directly to school. Teacher Appreciation Week was challenging for us, like all the other schools, but we made it work. We had a day where they could go to the Muddy Moose, the Moose Cafe in the morning or after school and get a breakfast sandwich and a coffee or ice cream, whatever they wanted. And we extended that to the whole school staff. They got a delivery of edible arrangements one day. Each teacher got one, and then we did all kinds of treats throughout the week. The 4th grade gift this year, we decided to do a large 8-foot metal maroon picnic table to start replacing our wooden ones outside for something more sustainable. PTO decided to match that plus, and we purchased 3. So now there's 4 8-foot tables that will be put outside for the kids to rotate who has lunch outside and to be able to do some outdoor classwork since our Wi-Fi has been extended outside. We went out on a limb and we threw together Color Run in 6 weeks. And I don't know if everyone heard, but it was remarkable. We raised $16,000 gross. We still have to pay out the vendor, so we get to keep 70% of that. We also, the businesses in town donated up to all the combined $2,000 through business donations. So our plan is to start working with a playground and landscape architect and to have a proposal to put in front of you all for an outdoor classroom structure. Myself and Anna Vicuna are part of the school improvement team. And when we sat in the meetings, when the teachers were meeting with the architect, talking about their big dreams, they talked about an outdoor classroom with a weather station. So that's when we got the idea right from our teachers. So we like to form a little committee with teachers and PTO members and work on what is our plan for this. Then we'll come for approval and hopefully start building at some point in the fall enough space for a whole classroom to be outside is what we'd like to do. We're looking forward to our 4th grade farewell coming up. 4th graders were treated to a rock painting party as well with CORE. Gloria came out and had all the supplies. On a Saturday, they did rocks that will go into our gardens in the front of school. I forgot to mention, one other thing that we did for Teacher Appreciation Week was we put a lot for the students to do that were free, things the kids could do on their own. Write your teacher a note one day, wear your teacher's favorite color to school. They had brought in a painted rock for their teacher, and they also did a dress like your teacher day. Gym teacher seems to be the most popular. Mr. Del Deo has clones running all around the school that day. And we're really looking forward to the plans that we had in 2019 that we never got to finish. We bought 2 buddy benches for the playground, which we couldn't do because students couldn't be sitting together on the playground. So those will hopefully go out in the fall. And we had also purchased, prior to COVID, book towers for each of the pods to do a book exchange. So students could bring in books from home and they could leave one, take one type of thing. So, and teachers could put some in the classroom that they weren't using anymore, sort of an internal library that the kids could just take home and keep. So those are the things we're looking forward to. And I'm definitely stealing Merce's idea about the Riecast snacks. So we will continue to share ideas. But that's pretty much it. And we do have one new, very enthusiastic K-parent PTO member who is looking into buying a tiger costume to be coming to events. So I'm sure we could loan it out to the other PTOs. So things to look forward to next year.
Great job. I always aspire to dress like Ben, but I can never really quite carry it off. So again, a lot of creativity and resilience. We really appreciate everything you've done. I'm going to open it up to any other members of the committee who would like to speak. Diane?
Sure. First of all, I want to congratulate the 3 of you. Kate, Julie / Marissa, and Jen. You all went really above and beyond this year. I recognize how very challenging it was. And all I heard tonight was some fantastic new ideas. And if that's one thing the pandemic has taught us, and I hope that it's taught all of us, is that some great things came of it, but whether we want to recognize that or not, and we can move forward with some of these ideas still in hand. I love the idea about how much we're focusing on the outdoors and how much we're focusing on each other. I also do want to give a shout out because these are names I heard multiple times. Mike Napolitano and McCrae's, I see that he's really been a fantastic community partner with all of you. And I have nothing but great things to say about, a businessman who's really giving to our schools and really not expecting anything in return. Same with Leo's Greenhouse and the CORE organization. If I missed anyone else that was big, please do correct me, but, I was jotting things down as we went. And the partnership between our schools, our businesses, the Tiverton Police Department, they're always right there, ready to jump in. It's just a great thing. And I have to be honest with you, this is the meeting I look forward to most in the year. And it really is just for me, for all of us to say thank you to all of you. You're the ones that made school fun for the kids this year, you know, and don't ever think that that wasn't important, because it was so critical. And thank you.
Dr. Larkin? If I may, unfortunately, Jocelyn Sherman, who's the president of the middle school PTO, couldn't be here tonight. She's actually working on an activity to honor our students, but I'd like to call upon Principal Craven to just tell you a little bit about what they've done. And then after that, the president of the boosters and Tempo also couldn't be here tonight, but Principal Ashley could fill you in on their contributions. I just think it's something we don't want to overlook.
Thank you. I totally agree. So,
So just before we go to that, I think Mike wanted to say something. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, so I just wanted to say thank you, because the reason why I got into the school committee was through PTO. That's how I got my first experience. And I know Marissa knows that best. So Marissa, thanks for all you're doing at Pecasset. That's my school. Kate, I think I helped put the bug in your ear to get over to get involved in the PTO for Barton. And Jen, you're doing a great job for me here at Ranger. I know you had a great color run, and I know Mr. Cabral, I know is proud of what you're doing, so thanks. And I won't rain on Jocelyn Sherman's parade. I know Mrs. Craven will fill us in, but you know, PTO runs through my veins. That's where I cut my teeth learning about the schools, and if it wasn't for the PTOs, our schools would not have the morale and the character they do. So thank you to you. Thank you to all the people that volunteer their time. Thanks to people mentioned. And I got to give that shout out to Mike Napolitano. He does it all the way to Little League. He's so amazing with his time and resources, and people like Gloria and the police department. So I want to also get Diane's sentiments to them. And thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, Sue, you have the floor.
thank you so much. Yeah, Jocelyn Sherman contacted me earlier, and we had a promotion ceremony this evening. However, she took advantage of the extra time, and she's stuffing bags for our students for tomorrow evening, which is incredible of her. So she contacted me and said, is it okay if I don't make it this evening? And I said, absolutely. Whatever I can do to help you is certainly something like the least I can do. So Jocelyn Sherman is the backbone of Tiverton Middle School. I mean, she really is. She has a way about her that attracts individuals to help out. She knows the community well. She's all in favor of anything we can do for our students at our school, and teachers appreciate all of her efforts as well. I know that the events that we held this year, Pizza with the Principal, she helped me with, as well as the promotion motorcade, some fundraisers throughout the year, Teacher Appreciation Week. I can go on and on, but I know she's not here, but I do have to give her a big shout out because I appreciate everything she does for us.
Thanks, Sue. Yeah, I completely agree. I've certainly had a lot of experience working with her as well, and she really does everything. Thanks. Mr. Ashley?
Yes, thank you. My pleasure to speak on behalf of our music tempos and athletic boosters. You know, to Ms. Craven's point about being the backbone. So for us, it's Ms. Flanagan as the backbone of our music tempo program, and Mr. Brigham as the backbone of our athletic boosters programs. You know, and when we approached the pandemic, and you know, with all the uncertainty, we weren't really sure, you know, for music, how we were going to get the kids to kind of play together. Ms. Flanagan kind of jumped in and started researching software programs so that kids could practice synchronously and hear each other. That was like a big challenge. And it worked out great, where the kids were able to, in the middle of the pandemic, still record and perform essentially from home, but it sounded like a real performance. And then we were able to share that out. And then as we transitioned back, we had to get, you know, just some examples. We had to get specialized masks with slits that had to be custom made for this particular type of instruments. Again, Ms. Flanagan, Tempo jumped right in to support them. and also just as always, helping with repairs and new instruments, and also just facilitating all the music students, and even from as the middle school up to the high school, and just keeping kids excited about the music program. So, a huge thank you to Ms. Flanagan and Mr. Brigham on the sports athletics. Our athletic teams had a roller coaster of a year where, especially in the fall and the winter, they'd get to play, then players would have to quarantine. And it was just tough, but the boosters really kept the kids motivated and excited, and just reminded them that it's just great to be able to play whenever they could. And they've done so much. They added some new shirts and equipment for all the teams throughout the year, just as kind of a big thank you. Just recently, they hosted their golf event, which is always a big fundraiser to get the staff excited. They didn't have to do this, but they did a teacher and staff appreciation where they bought baked goods for all the teachers at the high school. And then in terms of the actual facilities, they've upgraded in terms of new speaker systems. They have plans for a new archway, and they're really working on trying to get a full-size real press box. And so, we couldn't say enough thanks to the athletic boosters, Mr. Brigham, and all the parents, again, for both organizations, for all their support.
Thank you, Mr. Ashley. And yeah, they've done some really great work. So I'll open up the floor to the committee if any other comments. Deb, I'll give you the first shot.
Certainly just reiterate what everyone said about the community's, involvement, the teachers, the parents, just everyone. It's great. One of the things that I do want to do and thank, because I remember starting way back when, was Suzette. She was brand new at Fort Barton. I was a brand new parent at PTO. I do understand how much your families give up, and I appreciate them. I appreciate the Flanagans, the Brighams, the Jocelyn's, the Conleys, the Ulcers, and the Gilfilans, because I know how much your kids and I know how much your family members do give up to have you be so involved and so giving of your time, so that everyone else and everyone else's kids can benefit. So I do want to just quickly give a shout out to all of those people for letting us have you and your time.
Thanks, Deb. Well, again, great job to all of you guys and all of the other workers that I know sort of are giving up their time and effort and money. So, Ms. Osser, you said something.
I just wanted to mention something quickly, that I forgot to mention. I just want to thank the principals, the school committee, for allowing us to do field day this year. It was to end the year on a positive note and see everyone's smiling faces and dancing and fun meant so much to us and the kids and the parents. We had volunteers that we didn't know existed because we haven't been in school for almost 2 years. We had a waiting list of volunteers, of parents that really want to help. The K parents and first grade parents had never been to an event before. So it was an outpouring of emotion. Parents who aren't criers, like myself, were very emotional that day. Everybody was so happy. We've gotten so many emails from teachers that it really made a great end of the school year. So I just want to thank you all for trusting us to do it safely and keeping the kids safe and the volunteers and teachers safe. It really did mean the world to all of us to be able to give the kids that for an end of year celebration.
Thank you. Yeah, great job. All right. Anything else on item 6A, Peter?
No, we've covered it. Thank you, Dr. Larkin.
Okay, great. So we are returning to item 5, old business. I'm going to ask for motion to table item 5A.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any opposed? Take that as unanimous. Item 5B, FY21 budget versus actual.
And parents, we know you guys may have to go, so don't hesitate to drop off. We know how busy you are. Thank you for coming.
Though these meetings always are a lot of fun, and this is when the good part starts, so feel free to stay too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so budget to actual. Let's see if we can generate some controversy, Mrs. Roderick.
All right. Dave, I'm not able to share my screen, please.
Should be all set now.
Hopefully everyone can see that.
Yeah, oh, it's coming. Yep.
Okay. As I've been doing the last several months, I've been providing a budget to actual as close to the school committee meeting as possible, as opposed to the end of the month prior, just to have as current information as possible. Again, I have provided you with the data as of June 17th of 2021 versus the initial amount for June 30, 2020. I do want to point out that these amounts do not have the regional allocation of expenses in them for June 30, 2020, because I wanted to compare apples to apples to June of 2021, and we do not yet have those allocations. So if you were to look at, say, a budget to actual that I prepared for 2020 that I provided to you in July or August, the numbers might be a little bit different as a result of that allocation. But here, this is as close to the, I'll say, monthly operating activity as we're going to get. In addition to that, I did an initial projected for June 30. I added in items that I knew that I had information about that were in the pipeline. I won't go over every line, but as you can see, to answer the question, is there anything left? If all goes well, we'll have $15,361 left if there are no surprises. So, I do have to say kudos to, again, all the principals and the staff for being very judicious in their spending. And thanks to the PTOs and so forth for stepping up and providing supplies and sports equipment and all of that, which helped us save a few dollars here and there, which all adds up in order to be able to cover the overages that we had. And as we know, overages, there was statewide transportation. We had some settlements and things like that. So we had the unreimbursed COVID supplies. It really was a group effort to come in on budget, or as I'm projecting. And again, instead of going line by line, I know the committees had this, and I'm happy to answer any questions about individual lines they might have.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Roderick. I'll open the floor to questions. Mike?
No, I'm just looking at the numbers, but I don't have any questions. Amy, thank you for that you keep doing this for us. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, Diane?
Amy, can you go back to the first slide for me, please?
Certainly. Yes.
And first of all, I do want to thank you for putting that projection out there. I actually did the calculation. If everything holds true, we're going to be within 0.05% of the budget for this year. I don't think we've ever been so close. So thank you for doing that. The one thing on this page I want to point out is that at this time last year, our salary and benefits budgets were significantly higher, and that is a direct result of the layoffs that we had to enact last year.
That's correct.
And I just want to make it clear. that impacted us in a great way. We had increases in other non-salary benefit expense lines, but certainly in the salary and benefits lines, we have seen a reduction, a significant reduction this year.
We have, although I do want to point out, we do have one additional payroll that happens actually this Thursday, which is not included in this. But it is, as you point out, much less than it was last year.
Mm-hmm. I do have just a couple of line item questions.
Sure.
Can you help me understand the swing in the bus monitor line item?
So on that, when we had negotiated the contract with First Student, they had a 4-hour minimum for bus monitors in there, which is what I budgeted for. However, they've been billing us actuals, which have been less than 4 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, 2 hours.
And so, you know, I keep waiting for them to say, hey, we need a minimum of 4 hours, but we've been paying the bills as they come in, validating all the information, and which actually thankfully helped us because our statewide transportation that is now operated through RIDE has cost us considerably more than we had budgeted. So it's a wash.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question.
Yes.
So, all right.
So the statewide transportation, they actually take the service and they pool it and divide it pro rata amongst the communities, regardless of how many students you have actually being serviced. So we are actually sharing some of the cost for other students across the state, as are other districts.
Huh. I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that until this spring myself. Because I inquired as to why it was so expensive. We have, you know, 12 to 15 kids at most. Why is it costing us so much? And I got this sort of lengthy explanation. We are looking at alternatives for next year as well to bring that down.
Amy, can you repeat that?
So the statewide transportation program is being run by RIDE. And what they're doing is they have the whole program, and say for a given month, the whole program costs $2 million. They then divide that on a pro rata basis across all of the communities, regardless of how many students you actually have being serviced.
It's the divisor of the number of communities or the number of students?
I don't know for sure, but I believe it's the number of communities because it's exponentially greater than our number of students.
Can I ask that we put this on the agenda for a meeting in the near future to maybe take a deeper dive into that, so that we can all have a solid understanding and perhaps even take the step of reaching out to the legislature? I mean, I know it'll be past this session, but I think it's worth the conversation.
I'm also reaching out to different bus vendors to see if we can take it in-house.
Yeah. So yes, Diane, I guess I'm, as the chair, I'm the sort of arbiter of the agenda. That is something that we need to have a little bit more information on. I agree. Okay. Anything else, Diane?
No, thank you.
Deb?
All set.
Okay. So again, Ms. Roderick, thanks so much for doing this, you know, on a regular basis, and actually for bringing this budget in sort of a little bit under, which, you know, when you think about it, is amazing. Not just that it is as close as it ever has been, but was a budget that was created, well, you know, at least at the beginning of its creation was last January, February, before COVID, before level funding, before extra mitigation, you know, mitigation expenses, as well as pivoting to remote learning and hybrid learning and everything else. So now not only did we do it better than anybody else from an educational point of view, but it looks like we did it better than anybody else from a financial point of view as well. So
Thank you.
that I think is all credit to you and your staff and our principals and teachers and other administrators. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Any questions from any of our administrators? If you could stop sharing your screen maybe so I can
Sure.
see them.
Here we go.
They'll probably speak up if they have questions. If they're smart, they won't have questions. Any questions from the public, Ms. Delcourt?
Not at this time, Dr. Larkin.
Okay.
Dr. Locke, I do have to make a point though.
Yep.
I do also want to celebrate the balancing of the budget and the potential that it's going to come in, as you classified it, a little bit under. But just reminding the committee also that you used $1.4 million from fund balance and Medicaid funds to balance this budget. So that small amount of money that you classified as under, we're actually still $1.4 million over.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because actually that was the other part of the comment I was going to make that I guess just sort of went out of my mind. I guess I am out of my mind, but you know, yes, great job. We came in under budget by $15,000, but you know, we should also all be a little bit aghast that we did this because we had to do it, and the cost was in excess of 20 full-time equivalents, and frankly, not doing the things that we should be doing for our students and our families and our citizens. So your point is well made, Dr. Sanchioni. We had to close these gaps, and we need to recognize what we're not doing when we recognize what we are doing. All right. We're up to item 6B, ESSER 2 spending plan. Dr. Sanchioni.
Great, thank you, Dr. Larkin. And Ms. Cannavale, can you bring that doc up for us? Thank you. So why he's bringing that up and sharing that for the communities, and you've heard us speak about the ESSER funds and the money that the district is receiving. We did receive ESSER 2 funds. The amount was, I'll give you the exact amount, $763,284. And we also received the regulations with that. We actually have a July 1st deadline to submit our plan. So we wanted to share with the committee what our anticipated spending plan for that is. And I want to share that with you. Again, while we're waiting for that, ESSER 3 funds, which is a larger amount of money that the district is potentially going to receive, those regulations still have not been provided to us. So we're in a holding pattern there. Okay, Dave. We blow that up a little bit, Dave? Super.
It's giving me a little trouble. Just 1 second. I'm sorry.
So Peter, while we're waiting, maybe you can remind us, there were very specific sort of baskets that we had generally. I know one was learning loss, some was COVID mitigation. You want to walk us through those things?
Right. And, you know, there was some catch-alls that really allowed the district to address its needs. There was the ability to provide curriculum enhancements, an ability to address SEL, social emotional needs, and the trauma associated with being out for COVID and being in distance learning and returning to school and those type of things. So I would say those are the main buckets.
Okay.
And Dave, you're going to bring that back?
I was sharing it, but I'm happy to if Dave is having issues. Do you want me to share mine, Dave?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Nope, don't mind at all.
Thank you.
There you go, Peter.
Thank you, Ms. Palish. All right, great view of that. So you also heard us talk about this in the earlier, that when we're evaluating these funds, you know, we certainly want to do what's in the right idea for our students and support them as best we can. And you know, we're in a precarious budget situation. We've lost, as you've already articulated tonight, 24.2 positions last year and potentially could lose another 13 plus this year. And so when we look at utilizing these funds, it's what do we need to restore that was making great benefits for our students compared to what we'd like to add. And you've heard me talk about my meetings with the other superintendents in the East Bay, and their budgets are not getting cut. They're not losing staff, so they're adding in some really special programs. And as you're going to see in our spending plan here, we're going to try to do some of that, but we also get restricted that because of the potential loss of staffing, we need to restore that first to really keep us whole. So if I just go in the list that's provided you, it's not a priority list, but the first two are enhancements. Our math curriculum 6 through 12 has been in existence for a long time. The ability to replace that and upgrade the text and the materials that our students will have in their possession that address the Common Core standards and the Rhode Island standards will better prepare our students to do well on RICAS and do well on SAT. And I don't always want to make it test centric, and also provide them with a high quality math education. I want to give credit to Sue Craven and Amy Donnelly Roach, who chaired the committees that evaluated the curriculums over the last couple of years. This was always work that we were doing. It was really a dream. We never really thought we'd have the funding to execute this. So to be able to honor that work was a great thing to do. The program we selected, Envision, was one of the most highly rated math curriculums out there, and a lot of research and work went into selecting this for the district. At our last meeting, you heard all 5 principals talk about the summer learning tutoring programs that we were putting in place. That's a requirement of ESSER 2 funds. We're certainly addressing that at a very high level. We were one of the first districts out with the tutoring. As you know, we put a tutoring program in this spring through a grant we received from the Annenberg Foundation. We saw the impact of that tutoring, and that's also a program that we're going to continue on next fall at both the middle school and the high school. The next one is a highly valuable position for us, the elementary math specialist. We had 3 of those. Those were 3 of the cuts, we cut 2 out of the 3. We have 1 left in the district. We'd like to restore those 2 positions. Again, any one of our elementary principals could speak to you about the loss of this and the impact that's had on the math achievement of our elementary students. On the next one here, you see I put guidance counselor or math specialist. We've cut a guidance counselor. Again, so much of this is dependent on our budget and what's achieved. If we were to achieve our budget, then some of these would restore back to that, and we would add back that 3rd math specialist. But for right now, for your edification, we're looking at restoring a guidance counselor position. The next one's also a restoration. We cut the high school reading specialist. Principal Ashley could certainly address this. Again, it's a highly valuable position for us. It helps our students with their learning loss, so we want to reinstate that or restore that. You may recall on our cut list from last year, we cut our RTI coordinators. RTI, again, I don't like using jargon, response to intervention, which simply means that we're tracking students, that no one is falling through the cracks, that we're providing tier 1 support in the classroom, tier 2 supports that may be out of the classroom, and making sure our students have the things they need to be successful. But you have to have a program to do that. And the RTI was eliminated this year. We want to bring that back. And then the last one on the list is restore our UA positions. You saw when we brought out our cut list to you that we cut a lot of our art, music, and PE positions. We made small cuts, 0.2 here, 0.2 there, 0.4 here. And that has had an impact on the high school scheduling, on the middle school scheduling. We want to try to get that back to an even state so we can continue to offer what we're having. And so by restoring those small cuts along the way there, that allows both the principals at the middle school, high school to schedule more appropriately. And then we're required to have a 1% holdback. So that's our recommendations for the $763,000. We want to move forward with this. Again, that application is due July 1st. A lot of thought and processing went into these. And you can certainly see that we're not restoring everything. It's a balance between what we've lost and what we believe will help our students. And we're certainly going to look at ESSER 3 down the line, maybe to fill some of those other gaps. But for ESSER 2, I think this is the greatest impact for our students.
Thank you, Peter. I have one quick question. The restore UA positions. So those are restoring the incremental decreases in from a full-time equivalent to various basically arts and music programs. Do I have that right?
Art, music, PE, and a little bit of foreign language.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I'll open it up to the rest of the committee. Deb?
I'm gonna pass for now, Jerry.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going to take the same approach as Deb. Thank you.
Okay. Diane?
So you should have just asked me first time. Um, so on these positions that you're recommending to bring back, we're all understanding, right? This is a 1-year plug here. It's a one-time use of funds. This is not permanent restoration.
That is absolutely correct. And again, I guess we want to instill in the committee that, whatever budget the school department ends up with, and certainly we hope for the best, by restoring these positions through ESSER keeps our budget balanced. In essence, what you're saying, Ms. Farnsworth, is correct. It's still a cut because this money is one-time money that goes away, and these people are still going to be facing a precarious situation a year from now. Or these positions. I don't want to make it personal.
No. And I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Anytime we're using any of these stimulus funds on operational expenses, it's really just plugging holes with one-time funds like we've been doing for the last several years, just different pot. With regard to the math curriculum, we haven't really had the opportunity to take a look at that. And I think as a school committee, not only do we have the fiscal responsibility over the budgets, but I would like it so that we get to actually kind of see what this curriculum is about, rather than just a blanket approval for $144,000. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but one question I have for sure is this the all-in cost of this curriculum, or will there be additional costs associated with PD? Will there be additional costs associated with software renewals? Will there be additional costs associated with supplies? I don't know the answer to any of that. All I see is the one number here.
Yeah, that's an all-in cost, Diane. That gets us all in for everything we need. The PD's included, the software is included, and everything else that's part of it.
Mm-hmm. And I did hear you say you worked with your with Susan and Amy, I think it was.
Yep, they spearheaded the review. They reviewed multiple math curriculums. They had people on their staff also do the same and work.
I was going to ask, was there faculty input?
Yeah. And, if I want Amy or Sue, if you want to jump in right now and talk about that work, it was diligent. It was over a couple years, and it led us to this great conclusion.
Sure, thank you. So we had a committee, myself, Chris Ashley, we had 2 teachers at the high school, the department chair, Kristen Destrums was on this committee, Deidre Gauchus, our special ed coordinator, was also on this committee. And, we're charged with, by the Department of Education with getting a high quality curriculum in ELA and mathematics. As you know, a couple of years ago, we took on the mission to adopt Wit and Wisdom as our ELA curriculum. And so now was our time to choose our math curriculum. We had one more year. It's by 2022, 2023 that we had to get a highly rated curriculum for mathematics. So it was a tough year to do it. However, we knew it was important work to get done. So we took the initiative, we formed a committee. Chris Ashley was on the committee with myself, and we worked with these teachers to get the work done in the Rhode Island Department of Education and Ed Reports. It was the same process we followed when we selected the Wit and Wisdom curriculum.
And I want to highlight the Ed Reports organization that reviews curriculums across the country and provides that information out to districts. You can go on their website now and look up the Envision Math curriculum. You'll see it's a 5-star rating.
What's the annual, are there going to be any annual fees coming from this?
There are not going to be any annual fees coming from this. Wit and Wisdom, there are, because there's trade books that we have to purchase every year, but with this curriculum, there aren't any annual fees. Dave Carnevale has also been involved as far as the software requirements. So we are all set and good to go. But the professional development training is embedded in that price tag that you see.
Okay. I think that's, let me just say how thrilled I am that the district is turning its focus to math. I think that's, you know, aside from the last year and a half, it's been pandemic. I'm glad to hear us turning our focus to, you know, some areas that needed attention. So that's all I had for questions.
Is Envision Prior Pearson? Is that who that is? Yeah, okay.
That's correct.
So I think I'll sort of go off of what Diane was saying. I think it'd be great for us to hear a little bit more detail of the curriculum itself. I don't feel it's necessarily our job to approve the content itself. We're not the educators. So, and I think we have to do this by July 1st. So I think at a future meeting, it'd be great if you guys walk us through the process a little bit more and sort of how it goes K or 6 through 12, which I think is great. And I like the way that this seems to complement our adoption of the Wit and Wisdom program a couple years ago. So, you know, again, our ultimate goal is high education, high level, high quality education for all of our students. And I think this is, you know, sort of one of the steps that we continue to take steps in that direction. It's not always discernible to the public or even to ourselves, but I think we can look back and see that we are making progress and heading in the right direction. So I really applaud you guys all for all the work you did in doing this.
I think walking us through it often helps our parents because they
Yep.
kind of know what's coming and what to expect. And so in educating us,
Yeah.
it kind of helps educate them as well. But
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, great job, guys.
So this will come online in September, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, if we do that in one of our meetings or a meeting in July and August, that would be really great because then everybody will sort of know what to expect. Although I've never really quite understood most of the math my kids bring home. I just tell them, I always teach them the old way, and maybe that's not so good. Maybe that explains some things.
Just one more question, and Dr. Larkin, just a quick for either Amy or Peter. I know we have to have this in by July 1st, but we have the ability to tweak it later if we need to.
Yeah, there's always an amendment process to any funds we receive from the federal government.
That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Do you need a vote from us, Peter?
If you'd like, I mean, it's not required, but you know, we present this to you because we want you to know and want your approval. We want you to be on, you know, on board with the decisions being presented. So sure.
Okay. Before we get to that, I'm just going to open up the question to any of our administrators. And I have one question from the public, I think. This is, our ESSER 2 funds supposed to be used for social emotional trauma-based programs? I guess that seems to be one of the allowable things. Peter, you want to take that?
Yep, you characterized it correctly, Dr. Larkin. It's one of the allowable buckets that, you know, was certainly considered. And I think if you look at this list here, we're getting back to some of the you have to have your baseline programs first before you extend. And that's one of the difficulties you've heard me say Tiverton faces, is that in this spending plan, we're restoring guidance counselors, we're restoring RTI, we're restoring all these positions are all connected to SEL. It allows us to execute an SEL curriculum by just keeping our baseline. You know, again, unlike other communities that are near us that don't have to restore positions, they're going a little deeper than us. But I'd also share with the community that when we present to you our ESSER 3 funding plan, you'll see that taken into more serious consideration. But I think we'd all agree we've got to get back to a level of service we had before we go beyond that.
Any other questions from the public, Ms. Delcourt?
Not at this time, Dr. Larkin.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to support the plan as proposed by the superintendent.
Dr. Larkin, I actually feel we should approve, and I will make a motion to approve the spending plan as outlined by the administration for ESSER 2 funds in the amount of $763,284.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Farnworth,
Yes.
Mr. Dakotas,
Yes.
Mrs. Palish.
Yes.
I vote yes. So motion passes unanimously. And again, thank you guys for all that work.
And Dr. Lockett, thank you for phrasing it. If I just can close by saying that everyone you see on this screen here spent multiple hours examining data about the district, data about our students, and evaluating where we are and where we want to go to come up with this plan. And as you'll see in ESSER 3. So it really is a group effort, and high commendations to everyone you see on the screen here who did that work.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we go into executive, we have item 6B, August 10th regular meeting. We don't have a meeting in July, Peter?
Yeah, it's on the agenda, Dr. Larkin. It's 7A.
Did I miss that? Huh, it's not on my.
You
There's
know,
Have-
no 7A on our agenda, Peter.
Yeah, I didn't copy.
Goes right from 6.
Yeah,
It's 6AB, and then we have B. So we missed 7A.
maybe you're just watching to see if we
So
were
if you
paying.
could just tell us what date that is?
Yeah, well, I apologize. It's on
That's
mine.
okay.
It's July 3rd. It's July 13th. I think that was a date that you had all come to agreement on.
Okay,
Okay.
that's still okay with everybody?
Yes.
We always have the capacity to call meetings, with sufficient notice, so it's.
And Dr. Larkin,
Yep,
if I may, it's certainly well to keep that July 13th meeting. However, it's probably going to be imperative to set a meeting after the FTR.
Yeah.
At that point where we're going to make some serious decisions on staffing through ESSER 3, and we want to make those as soon as possible. So just keep that in mind. That,
Well, Dr. Larkin can always send out an email to schedule a meeting.
right.
We don't have to do that in person.
okay. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to ask for motion to go into executive session under Rhode Island General Law 42465A1, job performance, character, physical, and mental health administration contract negotiation, and Rhode Island General Law 42465A2, collective bargaining, litigation, NEA litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
A roll call vote. Mrs. Palish,
Yes.
Ms. Barnworth,
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
I vote yes, so we are in executive session.